Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most Renaissance man, who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the Yard of Streams, part of Pitts Insider's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. We are reacting to the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view premium live event that occurred this morning if you're in America, or last night if you are in Western Australia. And I can't react by myself. I got to do it with the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. Was popping, girl.
Hey, yo.
You know what I was thinking about is like the show started at 6 p.m. local time. Why? I've never heard of a wrestling, like a WWE show happening at 6 p.m. It's always like 7 or 8. Like they could have pushed it later if they wanted to. But
They could have. That's a good question. Do you think they wanted to have some daylight?
Maybe, I don't know, but they've never cared about that before when they've done outdoor stadiums. Like we're going to Mania and it's going to be dark for most of it.
7 o'clock it won't be.
In April, yeah.
I'm
saying for most of the show, it's going to be dark.
Show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the beginning. I'm saying for most of it. They've never cared about that before. So I just thought that was weird because I'm like, well, then it would have been better for the US people. You know, if you started it like an hour or two later, it would have been, 5 a.m.
their prime time?
I don't know. Maybe. That's what I mean. Like, I was so confused when they were like, it's 6 p.m. local. I'm like, what?
Because that's it. You do bring up a good question, because if we have to suffer with the 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 2 a.m., if you're on the West Coast time slot, and it's because we're catering to their prime time, we'll say, that's fine. I get it, tit for tat. But I don't understand why you're going to do that and then also have a weird time like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. I just thought about it because I was like, the only other time that has ever been that early is when they have like a West Coast show. So like for Raw or SmackDown, like because it's live, they have to go live at like 5 p.m. So it's like, yeah, it's early on the West Coast, but that's because you're filming live for the East Coast. So that's the only time I've ever seen it be like, yeah, the show starts at 5. I've never seen it start at 6. So I was like, that's interesting.
Oh shit. Yeah, I didn't either. It was weird. I just got text from Underground Kyle saying that it'll be lighter out for Mania because daylight savings. Daylight savings in a couple weeks. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. That's when it gets a little problematic for me because then you're back to being 3 hours ahead. So.
Oh yeah, you're on that West Coast time, as same as me and my brother. So.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But it's all right. Ty, what do you think of Ty? Are you lightning round quick? We fan of daylight savings or?
No, I don't do daylight savings, so I am proof that you can live without it.
Damn,
I think
it.
Most people would be fine with not doing it because there's like a lot of places. It's like Arizona doesn't do it, and then there's like parts of like Indiana or something that doesn't do it. It's like it's so weird. So I'm like, well, I understand why Arizona doesn't do it because we have so much sunlight all the time. We don't need to extend it,
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't find it to be necessary. So
no, and farmers, it was the whole porpoise.
Yeah,
that's tough. The only purpose of it was for farmers.
Yeah,
and now we don't live in that world.
Yeah,
like, come on.
Yeah,
robots basically farm. What's up, Bernard? How we doing? We got David in the chat, and yeah, it's a good time. We're having a good time here, and we got to react to Mania. I got the highlights going on right now.
Elimination Chamber. Not
what
Mania.
I said, Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we're talking Mania. I'm getting excited for Mania because we're on the road to WrestleMania. It's 42 days after today, or 41 after today, but 42 days today that it will be WrestleMania, and I'm so excited.
I know. That's
I'm
crazy.
I'm talking about it everywhere with everyone, trying to just plug it into conversations because it just it's gonna be so much fun. But we
Mm-hmm.
had to have this pay-per-view or PLE. I got to start saying PLE. We had this PLE as a little pit stop on our road to WrestleMania, and for the most part, hi. For the most part, I think the fans got exactly what they predicted slash wanted slash want to complain about on Twitter or
I
X.
know. My thing that I didn't understand about the complaints was that there were some people who were stating like complaining because it was predictable, which we kind of knew was going to happen. Like we talked about that last week when
Yeah.
um we were saying like, oh, people feel like it's too predictable, so if it ends up being predictable, then people are going to complain. But as we said, it kind of had to be predictable because this is the last pay-per-view. Oh my god, I swear to god, just stop it, Remy.
Remy, no interference in the chamber.
No, she's just I don't understand.
You don't do
Anyway,
that.
it's the last pay-per-view before Mania. So it's like they're not going to have, some like huge shift in a story that they've been teasing for weeks or months at this point. They're not just going to like randomly shift out of that. So like yeah, it's going to be kind of predictable, but as we said, we don't know how they'll get there. We didn't know what the finishes would be, or in this case with Elimination Chamber, we didn't know who was going to be the first two in and who was going to be the last two. Like that to me, it's like everything in between the beginning and the predictable results is exciting enough that that kind of makes it okay. Then
Agreed.
the other thing that I was seeing that I thought was ridiculous was like,
I Remy has interfered in the match and interfered with Sarah. Sarah's thoughts. So Bob H, what's up? How we doing? Good to see you, Bob. So while Sarah and Remy battle it out in the back, I couldn't agree more. It was, oh, she's back. I don't need a vamp. Oh,
oh yeah, yeah,
there
yeah.
we go.
That was Remy.
What did you threw Remy out?
No, she's still in here, but like push her off the desk, like bitch. Anyway, um,
Right through the table.
okay. So anyway, what I was gonna say was I saw
Yes,
some
continue.
people complaining about like Naomi being the first one eliminated, and it's like, guys, first, like, did you really think Naomi was gonna like get super far in a match only a month after she returned? Like, stop. Like, I understand that you're a big fan of Naomi, and I don't blame you, but like, let's be real. Like, I just like let's not be obnoxious.
Yeah, let's not. Certain people are supposed to do their role and do their job, as we say in New England.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone did their job. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care what the peeps say online or in person. Like, predictability is okay. It's
Sometimes, yeah.
okay. That's what I mean. Sometimes it's okay sometimes. Not all the time, but it is okay. And that's the thing that if it was predictable for everything, then yes, it's a problem. But with everything lining up for Mania, how it should be, you needed this to be predictable. And the only swerves that we really got were kind of predictable swerves to begin with.
Well, but
So,
the issue that I have too is like th- these are people who are never satisfied. These are people who will
yes.
complain if it's too predictable or if they get like a complete swerve. They complain about that. Well, they were saying it was going to be this and it was going to be that, and then they didn't even do it. And it's like, but then if they did it, you would say, this is so dumb. This was so predictable. So it's like, so then what is it? What do you want? You're basically just mad because your favorite didn't win. That's what you're saying. But it's like, it doesn't matter sometimes if your favorite didn't win,
It
like
doesn't matter
there's
if your
it's
favorite
like
didn't
people
win.
just think that because it's their favorite, like they should win. Like Naomi
Mhm.
fans, for example, like, oh, she should have won. Why? She literally just came back. Like there's no history between her and Rhea. Like there's nothing there. Like what are you doing? You're just mad because she didn't win because she's your favorite. That's the only reason. And it's just ridiculous. 1 second.
Remy is really fighting for the spotlight. I love it.
No, I had to sneeze. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So fair. I
Yeah,
thought
I did
Remy
it. I
came back
didn't
for
want to
second.
sneeze on camera. Oh,
That's fair. That's a good thing to do out of
yeah,
you.
I'm getting sick, guys, again. So bear with me.
Okay, stay away from we can't get sick. I got a wedding next weekend and I gotta be hitting that dance floor.
Well, I
All
guess it's
right.
good that I'm 3,000 miles away, so that's fine.
Yeah, just social distancing. That's good. Um, all right. Let's get to some quick comments here before we hop into our first topic match to talk about. Unhinged Unhinged?
I don't
Main
know.
event pro. Why we go unhinged? What happened? Oh, is it because you've been up since 4
Oh,
a.m.?
yeah.
Because me too. All right, try it every day. 4
Yeah.
a.m. We're at the pier at 4:30. Trucks are gone by 9:30, and then your boys on sales for the rest of the afternoon. Then we come home and talk wrestling. It's called the champ's life. Sorry, I went on a little rant there, but that's what we do. Micah, Sarah, we officially on the road to WrestleMania. Do you think WWE actually have Cody? Not a chance. Then pick the title of the next, similar to Rock and Austin.
I don't think they can.
They can't.
I feel like they just can't. I mean, I understand like if they're wanting to like put him in the same category as Rock and in Austin, but they already did that by having him win back-to-back Rumbles. So if you were
Yep.
trying to put him in the record books, okay, well he's up there with Austin, he's up there with Hogan, he's up there with HBK. I don't know what better company he could be in, you know.
Exactly.
And I think that there isn't a lot of storyline, I feel like, that they could think
There's not.
of to happen if Cody loses again. Like, just because The Rock is involved doesn't really change his trajectory. Like, it's not going to be something that would make sense. Like, oh, Cody's going to lose because this, and this. Like, even if The Rock is there, it's because of The Rock he's losing this. That, you know, like that. It doesn't make any sense. The Rock is not a guy that's going to be around, so it's not like he's going to then. Oh, this is happening because he's going to go feud with The Rock. No, he's not going to feud with the Jimmy Uso or Solo Sikoa or whatever Fatu maybe shows up. Like, that's not happening. I
Yeah,
think it would
that's too
be a
much.
giant mistake, a giant step back in Cody's career, because there's really nothing, in my opinion, that they could say to justify having him lose back-to-back Manias. Like,
There's nothing.
he's the guy that is your number one merch seller. He's helping you sell out arenas.
Easily.
He's literally being cheered for over The Rock. Even in
We got it.
Australia,
Yeah.
they were booing The Rock and saying Rocky sucks. Like,
It was 50,000 people plus chanting Rocky sucks. Are
and
you
that's
kidding me?
when have you ever heard that? I don't think I've ever heard anybody like get over The Rock in that way, because this is a thing that I think people are forgetting. People were chanting that before The Rock turned heel. That was just after him taking his spot. That was after he said he was going to face Roman. People were booing The Rock because of that. That had nothing to do with him, becoming a heel. So it's like, I don't think I've ever seen in my life anyone being cheered over The Rock when they were both supposed to be baby faces and like at the top of the company. I've never heard that. And it's like, the idea of them not trying to capitalize on that right now is absolutely insane. Like, it's moronic. And I wouldn't understand it. There wouldn't be any sort of cute little Triple H explanation at the press conference afterwards, like, oh, well, everything happens in due time. We're in this, no.
Yeah, no. He
No.
knows. He knows.
Yeah.
Entertainment. Let's get some round of applause. That's good shit. Good way to be. That's dedication right there. We love to see it. Because it was the type of pay-per-view, PLE, whatever, we'll get used to it, that you wake up for. I saw a tweet, someone's like, Santi, it was Santi, said, I had no problem getting up for Chamber today at 4 a.m. Imagine it being 2011 and you getting up for capital punishment. Like, I mean, that would be such a kick in the dick. It really would be.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But let's talk about Sarah. Introduce our first matchup.
Okay. So
Following contest.
are you trying to close it too?
No, I
Oh,
will
okay.
close it for you though.
Okay, because I don't know what's going on. It's like
I
not
don't either, but I'll help.
it's not going away from me.
Oh, it's gone for me. I'll just do me just do it.
Yeah, it's not letting me click on anything.
How about is
So
it up for you? Is this up for you?
no. Here, let me just come back because this is
All
being
right.
annoying.
So Sarah's gonna come back while I introduce this first topic bar. Now, Sarah, I think is frozen. She is definitely frozen, so I'm gonna let her go and talk about this matchup. We had the women's elimination chamber. It was Becky Lynch defeating the likes of Bianca Belair, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, and Tiffany Stratton. I'm forgetting one more name. I forget who it is. Usually this is where you have the teammate. Let me try to remove Sarah. I do. Um, why am I missing the other name? I can't think of it. It was Liv, Raquel. Oh, here we go. Sarah's back. Liv, Raquel. There you go. All right. I can't think. I was trying to introduce it, so I had
Okay.
Becky defeated Tiffany Stratton, Naomi. That was the last name I couldn't think of. SmackDown and Naomi, and she will be moving on to face the women's champion at WrestleMania.
World Women's Champion.
World Women's Champion.
So I think it's most people were saying that the women's chamber match was better than the men's, and I would say probably overall that's true. I mean obviously this I would say like the second half of the men's match is when it started to pick up.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think this was a great match. I think we all knew it was going to be a great match because of who was involved.
Oh yeah.
I am so excited and so happy for Tiffany because
Because why, Sarah? Why are we happy about Naomi and Tiffany?
see me? Can you see me?
Yes,
Okay.
I can.
Okay, because it went out again. Um, this is like another example, I feel like, of what we were just saying about Cody getting cheered for over The Rock. And I'm not saying Becky Lynch is up there with The Rock, but like at the press conference, they were chanting Tiffy time when Bianca was out there. And then when Tiffany comes out, you know, she does this, whatever. Becky comes out, and then Tiffany leaves. And even after she left, they're chanting Tiffy time. And it's like Becky and Bianca are out there, and they're like, no, we want Tiffy. We
We
want
want
Tiffy.
Tiffy. I want
So
Tiffy.
I just thought that was really cool because, like, you know, in this matchup, especially, they were trying to treat her like, you know, she's she's
They're
a
coming out.
rookie and
Yeah.
she's nobody at this point. So the crowd was like, no, we love it. And I think that Cole and Graves even mentioned it, which
Oh,
I thought was cool. And yeah, I thought the match was great. Like I think that it went how it should. It made sense that even if it was for like 5 seconds, it made sense for the end to be Liv and Becky at the final
mm,
two, given their storylines and their connection to Rhea. And even though we knew this a mile away, Becky was the right choice. I want to see Becky versus Rhea at WrestleMania. That's WrestleMania written all over it.
agreed. 1,000% agree. What I want to take away from this ending is not obviously that it was Liv Becky, but the way it was done. And if you notice, Bianca freaking out in the corner.
Yeah.
That's something that they don't pan on something like that unless it means something moving forward. Like
Hmm.
she become a little bit more unhinged, like our friend the main event Fro. She'll become more devious in trying to find a path to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that's where we're gonna see some, I'm not gonna say it outright, but an interesting square up that she has to have with a certain somebody.
Yeah. I'm curious what will come out of this, because we'll talk about it, but we saw what we think they're going to be building up for Mania from the men's chamber match. So I'm curious what they're going to do, if anything comes out of the women's, because it wasn't as clear as it was with the men. So and of course they don't have mid-card titles, so it's not like, oh, okay, this is going to happen because it's going to go after the US title, and in the women's it's going to be this title. They don't have that. So whatever might come out of it is non-title. So but it's like, that Bianca is going to be part of Mania. Like it's hard to imagine that Naomi won't, or Liv won't, or Tiffany won't. Like, they're gonna be there. It's just kind of an unfortunate thing when you think about the amount of talent that they have, even in on both the women and the men's rosters, that some of them are going to just be thrown into a battle royal, or some of them are going to be maybe not even in a match. Like it kind of does suck, because there are just so many that are deserving of having a match at the biggest show of the year, and it's like there's just not enough time to accommodate everybody. So
there is 2 nights, so they got to fill the
I
card
know.
somehow.
I mean, it's definitely I mean, I think it's possible, but then I'm also taking into consideration, like, Vince did not give a fuck how long the shows were. I mean, even when they moved to 2 days, it was like, okay, night 1 is 6 hours, and it's like, holy crap.
What year was it that the WrestleMania was like 8 hours long?
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. Like, he does not care.
So ridiculous.
But like Triple H is reportedly wanting to like limit it. Like he's trying to cut it down. So that's what I mean. Like, we can't now just say, oh yeah, of course these people are going to have matches, because like if it doesn't make sense, they're not just going to throw it together. But obviously a lot of them, since we're specifically talking about the women, they deserve more of a match than just a battle royal, so that's going to be interesting to see what they do, because also the women don't have like an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, so they can't just do that. But even then, that's like a consolation prize. They don't have a mid-card title to be like, okay, whoever wins the Battle Royal is then the number 1 contender. Like, that's not how it happens either. So,
well, they did have their own little version of a battle royal, but some stories came about and kiboshed that idea.
oh well, yeah. So I'm
Do you remember that?
No.
The Fabulous Moolah?
Oh, the stuff about Moolah, you mean, that
Yeah,
came out?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So then they like kiboshed it, which
Yeah. Well, I
whole
mean,
thing.
that why not go with like Mae Young though? You still
It
say
could
the
be
Mae
any
Young
woman.
Classic. Yeah.
You could do like the Stephanie McMahon. You could do, if you want to, you could do China.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was just gonna say. I'm like, but I don't know.
That would be like, why not a China battle royal or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something there. Entertainment has an idea for a match. Bianca Tiff.
To me, I would be down with that, but the only way I'd be down with it is if Tiffany wins. And I know that people are saying, oh, that shouldn't be it because, it's Bianca. Yeah, but you can't have her like lose to Bianca. Like, to me, it's like, I get it. It's Bianca. So if she's going to lose to anybody, at least it's someone of Bianca's caliber. But then at the same time, like, do you really want to put her in another match on the big stage and for her to lose again? Like, I just don't know if that's like the best way to go about her start on the main roster. But it's not like Bianca needs it. She's literally undefeated.
I would rather see Bianca. Oh, and that would make, yeah. Well, I'd rather see Tiffany and Naomi start a little something. I'm not saying a WrestleMania match, but at least start some sort of feud, because the way their chamber exchange ended was with Tiff rolling her up and then going toodles to her after, which just chef's kiss. The little details to that, just incredible.
And the most amazing thing about it is she's only 24 years old. So she is going to be around for a long time.
That character is going to evolve so much.
And they can go either way with it. They can go like full into it, like she's like this mean girl, whatever, right? Like they can keep going with that, but they could also make her like that lovable, like the Chelsea type, You know, like how Chelsea is like annoying, but it's like you love her. Like they could go in that direction too with Tiffany, because it's like you can't hate her for that, you know.
No,
But
she's so good too. You can't hate her because of that either.
yeah, so I think that's pretty cool.
Uh, we got Curvin saying that Bianca needs to continue her Mania streak.
I also think you need to remember she's undefeated for titles, isn't she? Undefeated, like every match that she's had at Mania was for a title. I don't think her losing in a non-title match would be that big of a deal.
Well, if
Then,
you want to make her if you want to have her own little undefeated
I mean,
streak.
you could, but she's not the next Undertaker. So like I don't know. I mean, they could do that. I'm saying like if Tiffany lost to Bianca, it's not that bad, but I also think that if you're also trying to develop like the next generation, you can't just like keep having them lose to people because people deem them untouchable so they can't lose. Like that's ridiculous. So I guess if Bianca did beat Tiffany, then we need to have that like that corny thing at the end where she like shakes her hand and like holds her arm up to like put her over.
Yeah, we need some of that.
You know, I would want that. Like if that was going to be the ending, then that needs to happen because they can't just keep acting like she's not legit, like what they're doing right now, you know, which I get it. She's the rookie, so you got to hate on her. You got to haze her a little bit. But I think if that were to happen at Mania, they need to like make it clear, like, no, she's a threat. These girls are giving her credit, you know.
They are. They are.
Yeah. Do you want to do the banners? Because I don't feel like it.
Let's all rise for the Judgment Day as they defeat the new. I thought it was Czech. It's not. It's what was it? Shit. The New Chance Republicer. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate.
Yeah.
Okay, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Someone will tell me the name in the comments. But they won. I thought this match stole the show. I thought this was a very entertaining match, and I'm obsessed with Damian Priest now.
I'm obsessed
Even
with Finn
more so.
Balor. I think that people severely undervalue what Finn Balor does. Like, I'm not taking anything away from Damian Priest, but like the way that people just like do not recognize like how good Finn Balor is just boggles my mind. Like I just don't. I think part of it is because maybe he's not like in the Judgment Day. He kind of is the one that isn't necessarily forgotten, but I feel like, you know, Dom has his thing. Like everybody hates Dom, and then he's got this whole thing with Rhea. So it's like, okay, Damien's like a presence just because of the pure size of man that he is, you know, and the voice and just like everything. And so, you know, and then I mean JD, whatever. But like Finn, I think just kind of gets like cast aside. And I think that people just don't actually realize like, I don't think people remember how big of a deal it was when he went to NXT. Like it was like, I'm not saying they're necessarily equivalent, but it would almost have been equivalent to like Will Ospreay coming to WWE. Like that
it was a big signing. No, I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah, it was a huge deal. So it's like, and then I think that because of how he was treated once he got to the main roster, it's like people just kind of, you know, and like, no, this was a great match. And part of the reason why it's so good too is because of their familiarity with each other, because of Finn having that second stint down in NXT. So I am glad that this kind of stole the show in a way, because I think this was one match that people kind of forgot was on the card.
No, they absolutely did.
And I think that this was a great showing for Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. And I think that kind of like validated them as a tag team. So like people are now, not that they didn't take them seriously, but they're so new to the main roster and like as a tag team that I feel like, you know, it kind of felt a little bit early for them to be the number one contenders or to become the champions. But like this was like, no, this proved why they were in that spot. And then I think that this was also a good showing for Finn and Damian because they don't have that many tag matches anymore. They're not defending their titles as much as they had been. And people are saying, we need to take the tag titles off of them. They're boring. They're this and that. They just proved again why they were a really good tag team and why they're still the tag team champions. So I thought this was exactly what we wanted. This is exactly like what we thought was going to happen.
Pete
Yeah.
Dunne and Tyler looked great in defeat. That's a great sentence to sum up this match. They did not need to win. They needed to look good. They looked
Mhm.
phenomenal in their
Yep.
back and forth. You alluded to it with Finn, going down to NXT. I would just say their styles in general are very similar.
Mhm.
I think three out of the actually, I think at one point, Damian was in the Indies and had his own little thing, but three out of the four at least made their name more known on the indie scene and doing that strong style type of wrestling where it's
Mhm.
more hard hitting. And for them to bring it over into WWE to the point where you're, captivated by it is really something that moving forward is going to be more of a staple. You're going to see more of this type of stuff. And it made the main roster fans familiar with their style in NXT and like, oh, these guys can ball. These guys are
Mhm.
really good. And that's the biggest takeaway from all of this is that, you know, you had Butch, who's now Pete Dunne, and then you have Tyler Bate, who people really didn't know because he was in NXT UK, then NXT, but he was put on banger matches with Gunther when he
Mhm.
was Walter. Now
Yeah.
imagine that match now. It's all setting up for like that style coming in, and Gunther was the guinea pig in that way to like, all right, like, can this dude not just have banger matches, but be a champion and a
Mhm.
dominant champion that people get behind? And these two next guys and are going to just be another part of the revolving door that comes in that exposes the WWE fans to this style because it's honestly one of the best styles.
No, I agree because I told you that's why I have like a thing for like the
It's it. No,
Europeans.
see, they say that's why I love my European men.
That is why I love my non-Americans. Yeah, so uh no, I agree and I think that this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like when we were just talking about Bianca and Tiffany, like Bianca can win, but we need to make sure that Tiffany looks good, that Tiffany looks solid and given the fact that, uh, Tiffany isn't really hated in the same way that Judgment Day is, so it's not like this isn't possible in their situation, but we would need to see Bianca like acknowledging Tiffany, and I obviously
Mhm.
that wouldn't happen in this match, but yeah, this you knew that this was going to be the result because it's again, it doesn't make any sense to change titles this quickly or this this soon to Mania, like there's only 6 weeks away. Like you kind of knew that titles weren't going to be exchanging hands because of that.
Mhm.
But if they're going to keep going with Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne in the tag title or the tag scene, then this was the perfect way to like make them look like a legitimate threat. So I
It
think
did.
they accomplished what they wanted.
They probably would have won if there was interference by former member R-Truth. But this comment here from Bob H letting us know that R-Truth arrived in Austria instead of Australia was hilarious. It
I
was not only hilarious, it was like hang it in the Lavoir type of
the
comedic.
Louvre.
The Lavoir? It's not called a Lavoir.
No, it's the Louvre.
Like a loof?
The
The
Louvre.
loo? The loo is a toilet.
No, Louvre.
Oh, there is
Louvre.
a V.
Yes. But
Okay, the
you don't pronounce the
Louvre.
R-E. Yeah.
The Louvre.
The Louvre.
Okay. Hanging
Um
in the Louvre.
yes. So no, I know. I thought that was like a good touch, and I'm wondering really what that was about. Like was it like was he really supposed to be there but he like missed his flight, or was it really like no, he's not supposed to be there and we're just going to do this like ongoing joke of him like going to Austria instead of Australia, like I'm kind of curious, but I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. Wrestlers do go on vacation in these types of things if they're not going to be used on the show. Like we saw Karrion Cross and Scarlett, they're taking a nice romantic getaway for themselves.
Yeah, they're in
Uh,
Thailand, I think.
incredible footage I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very possible that R-Truth could have went to Austria, just like, or some other country, and was like, "Oh, let's play up the gimmick," and like, this is boom. And just all you had to do was just do that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's little shit like that that R-Truth is so good at to keep himself relevant. Because put it this way, before the show, R-Truth was not in your mind. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, "All right, it's done. We'll see him on Raw." Yeah. Now you have this clip come out. The date, was it today?
No,
Or
I
was it
think
yesterday?
it was yesterday. Yeah.
It was yesterday that came out, but yeah, leading up to it. That is like all time nose ball, like incredible move. That's why
Yeah.
R-Truth stays goated. That's why he needs to be the host of WrestleMania. I've been saying this for months. Just give him the host.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is something that happened. Like maybe they were like, you can host the WrestleMania watch party or something, right? Because they've been doing that.
I'm
And then
taking that.
he'll think that, oh, they told me I was the host of WrestleMania. Like he could like twist it, you know, kind of like how he's confusing the words and whatever. I could see
Yeah,
him doing that.
that's so in the cards.
Yeah.
It's so in the cards.
Yeah.
All right,
So we'll
let's
see.
ride. Kervin is right. If Finn Balor never got injured, SummerSlam again, Rollins relinquished the Raw Championship or
I know.
Universal title at the time. That's a crazy what if. That's up there with the day one what if of if Roman never got COVID. That's like,
I know that really like derailed his return. And then when he did return, Vince had him return at a house show.
yeah, that was in retrospect, that's a terrible idea. And for anyone else, it's not as bad, but for someone like Finn Balor,
yeah, where the last time we
that,
saw him, he was becoming the first ever Universal Champion. You decided to bring him back and put him in a house show. Like what?
Yeah,
I was so mad. I was so mad. That was like peak Sara obsessed with Finn Balor. That was like,
imagine the show then. The clicks,
yeah.
the clicks, girl. All right. Oh, that's one way to put it. Okay, interesting. Why you say interesting, Sarah? Why
first of all,
effect interesting?
There were too many men in the ring with shirts unbuttoned. That was first of all.
Does that make you uncomfortable?
I just thought I didn't understand it. It's
toxic masculinity at its finest.
I just like Cody was the only one not showing his bare chest. I was just like, I don't understand what is happening right now. Why are there 3 men in the ring with shirts on, but they're unbuttoned or unzipped? It was a weird fashion choice by all 3 of them. Because then Cody comes out in a like 5-piece suit, and I'm like, what is happening?
I think that's the interesting fashion choice of all this.
I'm like, I guess it makes more sense that they were out there in unbuttoned shirts because it was 100 degrees. But I'm just like, I just was confused because I was like, this is not usually how Grayson Waller like comes out for his Grayson Waller effect. Usually he's a little bit more like not as casual. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, the main thing out of this is that Cody Rhodes challenged The Rock. And then Seth is like, oh, you can't do this. I don't know if this was a setup of the tag match that they were saying that they wanted to do, which, Cody's like, well, it could be any time between now and then. Dude, it's going to happen on night 1, in my opinion. Like, there's just no way that they're just going to have it on some random Raw or SmackDown between now and Mania. That's not happening.
Imagine. That was my thought. Like, what if it's just like a random SmackDown? The Rock, because Triple H did say The Rock's gonna be making more appearances
or next week.
And he's not. Well, he's not gonna. There's no movies.
He's gonna be at the show down the street from me.
You should go.
I'm not going.
Why not?
Well, I don't have tickets.
Dwayne.
I will at Mania.
I know. We're gonna see Dwayne. I'm so excited.
But anyway, so I would assume that's what it's going to be, but then I feel bad in a way because I don't want it to be the main event of night 1. Like, I feel like one of the women's matches, especially Bayley Io, like they deserve to be the main event. But
it does. I do agree there. It does.
But then I also feel like, how do they top The Rock and Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins? Like, how do you do that? And then at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if that's not what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if it is Cody Rock night 1. Because how how do we say the world heavyweight title is defended on night 1, but then Seth is also in a tag match? Like, that's not happening either. They're not going to put both men's WWE titles on the line on night 2.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I thought it was an interesting twist. And it feels like, to me, the reason why they're even doing this, again, is just validating even more that this was a pivot. And the reason why they're doing this is because Rock already said he would be in a match. He wants to be in a match. So this is their way of like trying to accommodate that. And so they're going to try and do something so that Rock is able to suit up and have a match. But how that goes down, when it happens, I honestly, I don't know. Other than it being Cody Rock night 1. That's the only thing that makes sense in my mind.
What if we got, like, the only thing I can think of The Rock wrestling on national television is if WWE steered into the skid of doing what NXT's doing with the pay-per-view named TV shows. Like, they make that show feel like a pay-per-view. I could see that, but I more see night 1 of Cody starting the show against The Rock and finishing it against Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I just think I don't think that would be a bad idea, but I think that it doesn't feel like it would fit right now, because it's now like we're full blown, like, next show is Mania. Like, I feel like they wouldn't just add some random show, but it feels like,
There's no roadblock.
Yeah, so I feel like it has to be that it's night 1, and it's probably just going to be Cody versus Rock. Like, and maybe Seth's in his corner, and then maybe others or something. But like, and that is something that Cody would so do. Cody would be like,
obstacle.
Yeah, I'll fight The Rock, and then the next night I'll fight Roman. Like, of course he would. And he will take a loss to The Rock. You know what I mean? Like, on night 1, just so that he can beat Roman on night 2. He'll do that. Like,
No, you
to
gotta win
me,
both.
no, I would love if he lost on night 1.
Why?
Because as I told you, it would make Roman feel way more confident heading into night 2. It would make him believe even more that Rock is on his side, where we're going to get the ultimate swerve where Rock is actually going to turn on Roman. So to me, it's like you want to make it look as much as possible that he is like so hardcore bloodline, like he's anti-Cody, the Cody crybabies, whatever. So by beating him, it doesn't do anything to Cody to lose to The Rock. Like, it, in this context, it doesn't really do anything, in my opinion, because it's for nothing.
Okay.
So if he loses, then he beats Roman the next night. And then, I don't know, it just seems more satisfying, because then he brought up the conversations that he had with The Rock again. I don't know. To me, I'm not saying it's impossible for him to win, but
an answer. That's right.
But I feel like it would almost be more satisfying if he didn't win both. He has to beat Roman, but I just mean, like, I don't think it would be a bad idea to lose to The Rock, just given, like, like, maybe he loses in the way that he lost to Roman last year. So it's like, oh, they're up to their dirty tricks again. And so that makes sure that the cavalry comes out to defend Cody the next night. Marvel, what is it? Infinity War, or whatever, Endgame, whatever you said.
Endgame.
That could be like the spark of it. You know what I mean? Like, he loses to The Rock in that way. The Rock gets even more heat. And then that's when, like, Seth comes out, and Sammy, and like Jay, and like all these other guys come out, and they're like, we're going to be in your corner tomorrow night to make sure that does not happen when you're against Roman.
It's going to be an electric moment. Oh my God, I'm going to have tears in my eyes.
You don't even understand. Yeah, you don't understand.
We're going to be sobbing. We're going to be Cody crybabies.
We are, and I'm fine with it.
I don't care. Call me a crybaby. I don't care.
Sarah's right in this. Rock win boots out Roman for losing night 2 and becomes a new tribal chief. That's what I'm saying. I just think that it would make Roman feel. Yeah, well, I guess he can be for now. But yeah, I just feel like it would make it like Roman coming out with with his posse and Rock right next to him, like acting like so much more cocky because it's like,
So
yeah,
much
my man
talent from
just beat your
athletically.
ass the night before. You really think you're going to come in here and beat me? Because he's going to think he's better than Rock, even if he's acting like a little puppy to him, because that's what he's doing right now.
Mhm.
But to me, that just makes more sense. And like I said, it's like I would rather see him lose to The Rock than lose to Roman. If I had to choose, I'm
If
not.
I had to choose, I'm on your side. However, my opinion differs a little bit because I'm on the boat of I want to see Cody have to have the obstacle in front of him, knock that down, and knock the other obstacle to knock all the obstacles out of his path to finally finish his story. That's
I
my
get it.
logic, but and we differ, but
No,
the end result is the same, and it's fine. I like that. I
I
like
wouldn't
that
be
we.
mad. I feel like it
But
is a pretty epic story. Like if he could say the first time that he became WWE champion, it was the same weekend he took down The Rock and the longest reigning champion in WWE history. Like
that would
I
be a
wouldn't be
hell of
mad
a
about
story.
that. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if they have him lose to The Rock.
And that would be more like in Infinity War because they
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah.
We
And then
lost.
he beats the final boss the next day.
Thanos.
So
Thanos kicked our ass.
and it's like I would go along with what they were saying Rock wanted was that he wanted to be in a match against Roman.
And he is gonna get that. As Sarah said, he's finally gonna get that. Vinny, it's all right that you just got here and missed it. It's been a hell of a show. And if you want to catch up on what you missed, all you got to do is just go to the archives and watch it right after we get done here. Because we had a good conversation already. We've had Remy, her cat, interfere in some things. Sarah and I differed opinion, but our end goal is the same. It's nice. I'm just filling in Vinny on what he missed. You're good.
I don't understand how I'll have like days and days and fine with StreamYard and then there's just days like this. Like it's so infuriating. Like nothing's different. I'm on the same computer on the same Wi-Fi.
It's all right, Sarah, because old man Mob thinks you're the goat. There you go.
Thanks, old man.
All right, what
Appreciate
do we what
y'all.
do we got? What do we got next? Oh yeah. We got the men's chamber match where Drew McIntyre. He did it, man. He did it.
So I was very happy, first of all. Now knowing the end even more, I'm very happy they had Drew starting the match because I think that was the best decision for this to be the end, because if anyone was doubting him, it's like when someone comes in number 30 in the Royal Rumble and then they win, you kind of just are like, and it's like, so if that were something with Drew, like if he entered the match like number 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever, it wouldn't hit the same if he won. So I was glad that he was there. I also love how they made LA Knight the last guy to have the entrance, and they even did the whole like pause between Drew's music and his.
Love a good pause.
They don't do
Love.
that with anybody, so I thought that was cool. And I mean, this match kind of went how we predicted it. Like you said, I didn't even remember. I predicted that Bobby was going to be the first one eliminated.
You did
So,
predict that. Yeah, you can go in the archives, check that out.
I also said that Logan was going to bring out the brass knuckles. I thought that it was going to be with LA Knight, but it is not. It was with Randy. And so I think we got 3 matches basically, I would say, out of this elimination chamber. We know Drew is going on to face Seth Rollins. Thank God.
Okay.
We know that AJ Styles and LA Knight are going to face each other at Mania. I mean,
Yeah,
AJ Styles flew halfway across the world to make sure that LA Knight lost this match. Like
that's some dark shit.
Well,
That's some player hater of the year type shit.
And then people, is he a flat earther? Because I kept seeing a lot of people say he was a flat
No,
earther.
He's not a flat earther.
Okay.
I watched the interview with him and Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, Tomato Potato. He just he's like, yeah, I don't know. It could be not. Why my thing with that, I think people ask him too much and he just says whatever they want to hear. Like, he's like, yeah, sure. Like, I think he's been asked this so much. He's like, just shut up. I'll say anything.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, it's
anyway, I
one of
just
those.
thought that was funny. So,
It is funny, but yeah.
so that was something that we had talked about, and I think someone in the chat was like, what if AJ comes in and like ruins it for LA Knight? And I said, maybe, but the fact it's in Australia, I doubt it'll happen unless they're like really dedicated to the bit. And apparently they're very dedicated to the bit because they really flew this man like 30 hours so that he could just repeatedly hit LA Knight with a chair.
Yeah.
So we'll get that. And then it seems like they're setting up like a triple threat for the US title. It seems like it's going to be Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens or something, because they were interacting during this match. They had a whole moment at the press conference. So it feels like that's what they're going to do, which is just like, that's insane. Logan, dude. These matches that Logan gets, like, you're getting, if that's what it is, you're getting a match with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens
at WrestleMania.
That's like insanity to me.
Damn good. That damn good.
It's also just going to be interesting to see how they go about it, because I thought that originally he was going to face LA Knight and we were going to see LA Knight get the title. But him going against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, I'm kind of like, I don't see Randy Orton being US champion. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but
imagine.
I don't know. So I did want to ask, because you and I both wanted Drew to win, and I saw Vinny told me I was wrong. I'm not wrong.
You're so not.
I'm not wrong. Randy did not need to win.
Randy had no business. No business.
No.
So
because I saw some people that weren't thrilled, and you know how I am when it comes to these types of finishes where it's not like a clean finish, right? So how do you feel about Drew essentially winning because Logan punched Randy with brass knuckles?
Oh, that was a theme throughout the entire match. I love that theme throughout the entire match, that every elimination or pinfall that Drew had was because of someone else's doing. And if you notice that was one thing in Drew's story that has been a constant theme, that he's always got screwed over by being that guy who's the victim of it. And now in this new dark era, he is the guy that's benefiting off it. And to him, that's what it takes to be world champion. So I loved it in that regard, because it plays very well into his story and storyline, however. And it's fine. It fits. Like any other time, I agree that it's overused and all right, yeah, it's just like a formula to set up a new feud, whatever. No, this has a little bit more substance to it. And to me, it's going to be interesting now with the build up to Mania, what he's going to do to kind of set it up so that he takes advantage of Seth.
Yeah, like I obviously am very vocal about hating this type of thing, especially depending on who's in the match and the circumstances. But to me, this felt like, I mean, you knew something was going to happen. I mean, we already saw AJ Styles in the ring doing that with LA Knight. Logan Paul takes out the brass knuckles, and you know they're not gonna like not do anything with it, because essentially he did a bunch of like ha 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 and then gets RKO'd out of nowhere, and it's like,
that
okay,
was so funny.
You knew that they probably weren't just gonna leave it at that. And when we were talking about what could potentially happen with Logan Paul and LA Knight, because that's what we thought was the direction that they were going to go in for Mania, we were talking about him bringing out the brass knuckles and either him using them to take LA Knight out of the match, or, trying to use them. LA Knight gets the better of him and eliminates him. Then that is something that becomes something, right? So it's like, this was their way of just solidifying, Logan's going to be facing Randy probably and Kevin Owens at Mania. So unfortunately, Drew just had to deal with it like in that moment, because the only way it would have worked is if Drew pinned Randy, that Randy wasn't the last person in the match with him. It would have had to be there was someone else in there for it to be like a clean finish. You know what I mean? So I feel like, just given the circumstances, I think it's fine. And like I said, he was one of the first two in the match. Like you can't say like, oh, he got this win handed to him. Not really. He
No.
was already in there for like 40 minutes. So,
Oh no, he went the
um,
entire distance. Yeah.
and so to address what Vinny was saying, I can't see the comments, but from what he was saying, that Randy should have won. We've talked about this so many times, so I'm just going to say it again. I understand that people aren't big fans of Drew. I'm not really sure where this whole thing about like him not getting any sort of reaction is coming from, because that's not true either. Um, there are so many more storylines that can come out of Drew facing Seth and beating Seth at WrestleMania. There's like so many feuds, so many storylines, so much of everything that you could possibly want. Whereas Randy's on SmackDown, so if he won the match, he would be facing a Raw champion. They're clearly not bringing him to Raw, so that wouldn't work. And let's say they did do that. There's no storylines for him on Raw because he's on SmackDown. And Seth beating Randy would be like, okay, like, okay, then Seth is still a boring champion because there's nothing for him right now. So, yeah, to me, Drew was the only choice.
It was the only choice. It really was the only choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all the comments. I mean, I know Vinny, but I'm on the side of the truth, and Sarah's kind of right. It doesn't make sense for Randy Orton to have won that match, but it made sense for Miss Rhea Ripley, mommy defeated Nia Jax, and she will be taking on the man Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. And if you want to talk about predictability, this was as in your face as possible, and everyone is thrilled for it. And if you're not, check your pulse. But this match was solid. I think this. I just want to get that out there. I thought this match was incredible for Nia. I agree with Cole what he was saying in Graves that this was probably Nia's best match since returning, and probably best match I've seen her in. And this established Rhea as a dominant champion.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say the same thing. Like, I think on paper, you didn't think that this was going to be that great of a match because of Nia being in the match. And there's not really any matches that you could sit here and list off the top of your head that Nia has had throughout her career that you would say were phenomenal, or she did great, or she looked better than her opponent. There's really none that you could say unless you are, for some reason, a huge Nia Jax fan. But you expected this to be a great showing for Rhea, but you also need to have a good partner in those matches, because it doesn't really matter how good you are individually. If you don't have a good dancing partner, it's not going to look good. And so I agree. I think this was definitely a great showing for Nia, and it seemed to like legitimize her in this main event picture too. Like, even if I don't want to see it, and we didn't want to see this match, it did feel like she was kind of handed it. But to me, she hung in there and put on a good match and looked like, yeah, she could have been the champion. So, you knew that this was what it was going to be, like you said, and no one's really complaining because everybody wanted Rhea to win. And I think we're getting exactly what we want. People have been talking for months because they kept teasing Rhea versus Becky. Now we're finally getting Rhea versus Becky, yet people are complaining because they think Becky shouldn't be in this position, as if she's been champion recently.
No, she's literally spent the last 2 years putting over the developmental talent and people like Tiffany Stratton, so Tiffany Stratton can be in moments like this. This is the match you want, and this is the opportunity that Becky deserves. She doesn't need to win. She can win. I don't care, but she needs to be in this match.
Well, and the thing is wasn't she also the only one in the match besides Liv that was on Raw? Like, come on, guys. Like, you knew that was what it was going to be. They're not going to move any of those girls to Raw. Yeah. And then if you go through the list, you don't want people who have been champion recently to be in this match. Okay, so why would you want Bianca? Bianca had been a champion for over a year straight. But, like, yeah, she should be in there. Naomi, she was not going to be put in this match already. Tiffany, not going to be in this match already. Liv maybe, but she's just returned, so it's like people are invested in her, but people were already like so wanting to see Becky Rhea that didn't make any sense. And who am I? Oh, Raquel. Raquel wasn't going to win, guys. Come on now. So it's like I understand people's complaints to a certain extent, but I think in this situation it doesn't really make sense because Becky should have won. Becky has been removed from the women's championship picture for, like you said, 2 years. And I think that if any of the other women had won over Becky, people would have complained. So again, it's like there's
they would have been even more
exactly. So that's
in
what
a
I'm
roar.
saying. It's like they just want to complain because for some reason the IWC hates Becky. Like they're acting like Becky is Charlotte. That to me doesn't make any sense. Charlotte's the one who literally gets handed everything.
Oh,
like
those people are inept. Those people
yeah,
are
it's
inept.
like I understand you don't have to be a fan of Becky, but acting as if like she's just handed these opportunities or she's always the champion. I'm like, guys, you're confusing her with Charlotte. That's Charlotte. Do you know how long it took Becky to become a champion? like, or to even get into a point of being a main eventer? Like, Sasha and Charlotte had been there for
They
years
were
before
doing
Becky
it.
did.
And they gave her the SmackDown championship so people would shut up, and I was so thrilled when they
Mm-hmm.
finally did that. I was like, "Yes, finally they're giving her a championship." And then they just cast her aside until
Yep.
she became the man and pretty much forced her way into the main event of WrestleMania and winning it. Like, it took a lot, and she's more on a path or like she's on the Bailey path right now, or was on the path that Bailey's on right now.
Yeah.
And if you don't see that, then I can't help you.
She really did have her stone cold moment though. Like I know that people were saying like, "Oh, it was such a stone cold thing," because whatever, but she really did. Like if you think about Stone Cold just cutting that promo and say like Austin 316,
That
it's
was
like
it. Yeah.
Becky had her moment by getting punched in the face and breaking her nose. It's just like
And
it's
then
like
being run up.
everything was in the right place at the right time. That was supposed to happen. Nia was supposed to break her nose because that was
Yeah.
the moment to make her into who she is today. So I get it. Becky's one of my, my current
That's your
favorite
girl.
of this generation. So I'm not trying to say it in a biased way, but I feel like more people would be complaining had it not been Becky. So I just don't why put the energy into it? Like I don't understand.
Did you know that Becky's gear was inspired by Scott Hall today?
I could tell immediately, yes, but I
Oh,
didn't
good.
I didn't know that it like did she say it was like legitimately?
I just saw something on Twitter and then I saw it while I'm watching the highlights, and I just wanted to give that to you because
Oh yeah, the wolf pack, the red drips. No, I knew it immediately.
don't
Duh.
back on the wolf pack. You might wind up in a body bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's the thing too that I love seeing too, just like the gear shout outs and stuff, because you don't know always about the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but when you see things like that, you don't like I forget who else it was. Oh, I think it was Matt Cardona had talked about like how much it meant to him to speak to uh Scott Hall when as like for the Intercontinental Champion and whatever.
Mhm.
So it's like those kind of things I think are cool because you don't know like who looks up to who, or maybe someone just said one piece of advice and it like changed their life. Like I didn't
Yeah.
know about John Cena being like this mentor to Cody Rhodes, or I didn't know that if that is true about Becky's gear. I didn't know that like she had that type of like reaction or relationship with him that she would want to
Mhm.
like pay tribute to him. Like to me that's cool.
Oh, it's always cool because that's where you wouldn't be there without them. They're the ones who
Mm.
inspire you. So
And
it's
it's
great to
nice
pay homage to
that
them.
people still exactly, and it's what almost 2 years after Scott passed, I think. That's
It was
insane.
2 years. That's
Almost two
wild.
years next month.
Jeez, that is
I
sad.
know. I know. I don't want to get that.
All right, well, let's not get sad. Let's get glad by grading the Elimination Chamber. I honestly, I was trying to think of like a B plus, but why wouldn't I give it an A? Because every match really delivered. I'm gonna
Hmm.
go A minus.
That's what I was
I'm gonna
gonna
go A
say
minus.
too. And the only reason I would say A minus is just because I felt like the Grayson Waller effect didn't really need to happen. Like it was fine. It got Grayson on TV. That's what you wanted. You wanted to
Needed
make
everyone.
sure that Seth and Cody were there because like they weren't in matches, so you want them to be there because obviously people paid money to go to Elimination Chamber in the hopes of seeing Cody and Seth. So
Mhm.
that got them there. And then, I mean, I think this is how it always is. So I would say it's more about the Grayson Waller effect than anything, but both chamber matches were so slow
They were very slow.
at the
They
beginning.
did. Yeah, they
Yeah.
did take a there's a lot of time, though. There's a lot of time they gotta fill. So,
Yeah. So that's why I'm
you
saying like
kinda just play the
it's just
game.
it's kind of one of those matches that always starts off slow, but it's just like
Mhm.
sometimes it's a hard watch because you're sitting there waiting for the third person to come out of the pod, and then you're like, okay, finally, like you're just
Yeah.
waiting. But yeah, I think that's the only thing. I mean, I feel like yeah, this was a great show, and I still enjoyed it, even though I knew everybody who won. So,
I
because
don't care. Yeah.
I spoiled it for myself because I just knew that I wouldn't be able to
That
wait.
was the thing. I would say, an A minus job myself of trying to stay off Twitter and stuff at work and,
Mhm.
be as surprised as I could, even though it was a forced surprise, if you know what I mean. Like, I could have predicted it. I mean, as soon as I opened Twitter and saw that Mommy won, I was like,
Yeah.
"All right, well, it's going how I please. Now I gotta shut it off to swipe up and to refresh or whatever you wanna call it on your iPhone,
Yeah.
to do that, so I can be surprised with how they won. I don't wanna see any clips, I wanna feel like I watched it in full, and I'm glad I did, because even though it was predictable, I was still very, I was so happy with the way they did it, and that's all that matters at the end of the day when you're watching it. It's not about the destination, Sarah, it's about the journey. Alright, well, I didn't think the joke was that bad, you didn't have to leave. Alright, you know what? Let's get some comments. Alright, now I'm gone. Now I don't know where I am. I can't see myself. Can you see me?
Nope.
Can anyone see any of us?
Nope, I can't see you. The background's
Oh, yeah, the background is different. What is happening? Talk about unpredictable. Hold on. Hold on. I think I know what happened. Boom, fixed it.
I still can't see, but I'll trust you.
You can't see me?
No, I can't see me. I can't see you. It's fine. Just keep going with it. It's fine.
All right, we'll just wrap up the show here with that. Thank you guys for tuning in to this edition of Pits and Sarah's Wrestling Show, Elimination Chamber predictions. You know, this has been a wacky show. It's what happens. Elimination Chamber is wacky, but the road to WrestleMania is even crazier. You don't know what's going to happen next. Sarah's just getting out of here. All right, she's got her problems. So it's the champ going to wish you adieu before me head out of here. Make sure you are hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know when we post and go live and when Sarah, the invisible talking wrestling personality, is here. She cuts up those clips for you and makes them so you get to not only if you miss something like Vinny, you miss part of the show. Don't worry, those clips are right there for you to check out and share with your friends. All right, share them. Everyone's a wrestling fan now because wrestling's so back. It's so back. And WrestleMania is only 41 days away at midnight. Um, Follow us on all the social media platforms in the descriptions below. All those links are there. So you can go hit those. Follow us for awesome thoughts, not just on this show, but on the Twitterverse, the Xverse. And we'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind. Raw is going to be very interesting after a show like this. So we'll definitely have to have our thoughts about it. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. We will see you on Tuesday. Yeah.